Today's topic is shotguns, specifically combat shotguns. We got a pump, we got a semi. We're going to go through some of the things you need to know about a shotgun. Both of these guns, yours is cylinder bore, right?
Yep.
This one's cylinder bore. This is a 590.
It's a Mossberg 930.
Just like a rifle, I mean, I think you want to run a sling on it, right?
Yep.
I mean, it keeps it attached to your body, and with a shotgun, you're also going to want to run a handgun. I don't think you should run a shotgun without a backup handgun just because you're constantly topping off, right? Constantly feeding this thing. That said, that's not a huge problem, but a handgun definitely makes, especially close quarters work, a little better.
Absolutely.
Precision shots, a handgun is generally better. There's lots of different ways to load it, right? Different loading mechanisms, like the S-Tac cards you can run on the side, right?
Oh yeah.
There's also the speed loaders. This is a Johnny clip from Amazon. It was like 20 bucks. And then I also run a dump pouch. I fill it up with shells and I run it out of there. It's just a Velcro front. Pulls right down. Load it up with shells. You can close it when you're running. I haven't had a problem with shells falling out of it yet. Running, jumping, diving. If you have it real full, I mean, they'll fall out. This, I mean, even running that with a vest and things like that, them shells stay in there pretty good. I was surprised because it was so cheap, but they stay in there pretty good. And it's pretty quick to reload out of.
One nice thing about this, it does have the ghost ring at the same point. It's also kind of slower than just your bead, but for a quick shot, it does take longer because you're trying to get that sight picture through the sights then.
Right.
Other than that, again, basic semi-automatic. This has got the pistol grip, which
With the Mossberg, the safeties are on the top
yeah,
tang. It makes it kind of tricky on that gun, right?
it does.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely harder. Another important thing for shotguns is also attachments. Like, I don't have a light on this one yet, but as you can see from his 590 there, you want a flashlight.
You know, these S-Tac cards, they just slap right to the side of the gun or wherever you have it mounted. I have one back here too, so I can slap slugs back here if I want to carry slugs here. I can run number 4 buckshot or double aught up here or whatever my preference is, you know, bird shot if you wanted to run bird shot for whatever reason. I mean, a pump is a pump. You know, you gotta press the button behind the trigger. Pump, pump. The gun is empty. It's clear. Finger. You wanna go over a little bit about your semi?
With the semi, pretty much basic. Load your shells in the tube just like a pump action. You can see it's empty, but then you just take and you're good to go. And then you turn your safety off.
Let it rip.
And just let it rip.
Considerations with a shotgun. Ammunition is probably going to be one of the biggest variables, I would say, right?
It is. And one thing you'll want to watch with a lot of semi-automatic shotguns, a lot of them do not like to run certain types of shells. Like your really low-powered loads, it doesn't like to. Some of them don't like to run them. Now, luckily with this one, with the 930, I haven't really had any problems yet, and I've ran a lot of everything through it. I haven't even cleaned it yet. I figure I'll wait, see what it could take before the gas system starts fouling out.
Absolutely. As far as ammunition goes, double aught buck is usually the mainstay, I would say, for most shotgunners. I mean, with 9 pellet double aught buck, that's basically sending like 9mm projectiles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The number 4 buck is like 24 caliber or 22 caliber, somewhere in between there, I forget. This gun holds 8 in the tube, 1 in the chamber, so you can run 9. With the shot cards on the side, I can run, I think it's like 21. Yeah, 12 and 9, so 21.
This holds 7 in the tube and 1 in the chamber. Again, like I have the Velcro on it for the shot cards, so you just slap it on just like the 590 over there. And
so that just goes to show you that these shotguns don't hold a lot of ammo in them. That's why you got to carry it on them or find alternative ways to carry ammo, and why you should have a handgun. Full size mag. Double in the capacity of this. Right?
Yep. Most of your work with the shotgun is going to be feeding it.
Yes. And speaking of feeding, since we're on the topic of that, there's different ways to do it. I like the violin load, so the gun just goes here. You know, I can either grab out of my pouch to feed in, or feed through the bottom. I did modify the bottom port on this so that I can get my thumb in there better to really feed the rounds in. But the nice thing about violin loading, I think, now this is what I think, violin loading is I can stand here and I can still be, if I'm pressed up on a corner or cover, I can be feeding, feeding rounds, and then if there's a threat coming, I can either go back to the shotgun, or if, say, I'm not comfortable with the round count in it, I can switch to the handgun and move myself away from cover. So that's why I said the handgun, I think, is a necessity. Precision shooting, I'm not going to say you can't be real precise with slugs out of these. That said, I personally trust my handgun more.
Really, with any main weapon system, you should run a handgun, but with a shotgun, with the limited ammo capacity of a shotgun, you definitely need a sidearm.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement. You gotta have that working space, which is why I said I prefer violin loading out of my pouch. It's just easier that way, violin loading out of the speed loader. And that allows me to keep track of anything that's moving. I can pay attention to everything and still be loading, looking. And if I have to, I can switch to the handgun quick, or the gun can come back up quick. Violin loading from the pouch. Violin loading from the speed loader. From this position, it doesn't take anything for me to just be here, boom, the shell's in, and then the gun's back up. You're already coming back down that way anyway. And even if I'm not, if I'm just loading into the tube here, I can stand here, I can look around while I'm feeding, and then the gun's right back up. So, working space is a big thing with shotgun because they're longer. I know a lot of people like the SBSs are now, they're all the rage and stuff. And
if you practice with your weapon, you can learn to maneuver any length weapon.
Shooting shotguns at extended ranges. You need to pattern your gun so you know if the pattern's going to pull left, right, high, low. You need to pattern it with the ammo that you're going to use. This here is double-aught buck 9 pellet. We're shooting at 40 yards. I'm going to show you why you always need to send 2 at extended ranges. 1 is never enough. Nine out of 18 pellets. That's why it's important to send 2 at extended ranges. 40 yards.
Alright, we're going to test the pattern out on this Mossberg 930 at 20 yards here. This double-aught buck we're shooting.
Five out of 9 pellets on target at 20 yards. That's why it's important to pattern, folks.